Welcome back to another GamerSpawn Battlefield 3 trailer analysis. In this video, we will be looking at the new Fault Line series Episode 3, Get That Wire Cut trailer, released on March 30th at exactly 12 o'clock noon Greenwich Mean Time. As you may have already learned, there was a video leaked from GDC 2011 showing off a lot more of Battlefield 3, and this trailer covers some events seen in that video, so let's get started. In the beginning, we find out that Sergeant Blackburn has found the squad he was originally tasked with finding and rescuing, but the Marines notice a suspicious wire, and Black decides to follow it into a basement via ventilation shafts. Black is still carrying his M4, but notice that there is a different crawling animation this time around than there was in the previous Good Effect on Target trailer. This could mean two things. The crawling is scripted to happen only in this sequence, or it could mean that the game detects whether you're in a tight spot or in the open and automatically adjusts the animation. Either of the two are distinct possibilities. There are also two ways the flashlight attached to the M4 works. It could automatically turn on in a dark area, or maybe it's manually controlled by the player. There are also no clues whether or not there will be a flashlight attachment in the multiplayer game mode. For a brief moment, you can see a rat running by in the ventilation shaft. So, besides dogs, DICE has also included some rats into the game. Insignificant, but it's still something novel for Battlefield. Another small tremor takes place as Black gets closer and closer to the suspected IED. The next sequence we can remember from the gameplay debut trailer, Black falling down into a basement. For a brief moment, we can see the player's uniform, and it appears to use a different camo pattern than the USMC's current MARPAT. Maybe it appears different because of the lighting. Or maybe the USMC gets new camo by 2014, the year in which the events in the game take place. He eventually finds the bomb on a table. Now, at first you may think this looks like an ordinary basement, but there are some things out of place. Two pink teddy bears. While they don't affect gameplay in any manner, they're still an interesting sight for a basement in the middle of a war zone. Or maybe they're filled with explosives. There are also some inconsistencies regarding the bomb. Wires are brightly colored and placed in a very visible manner. Even the untrained will somehow try to hide the wires. And notice that the player does not first clear the right side of the basement before he moves on to defuse the IED. The IED is set to be detonated via a cell phone and DVD players, presumed to be fail-safe triggers, and we even see gutted players on the shelves, which explains the errant circuit boards and what appears to be a power source. As Black tries to defuse the bomb, pulling out one of the wires, a light somewhere in the back flickers and shows the silhouette of a man on the wall. Black turns around and is met with a punch from a member of the PLR in full uniform with elbow pads, knee pads, and knuckle guards. If this moment seems familiar, it's because you've seen it in the gameplay debut trailer. What you haven't seen is the hand-to-hand combat that follows. What we see is PC footage once again, as the HUD prompts the player to press the right and left mouse buttons to fight the assailant. The video cuts as the fight is probably a bit longer than what is shown in the video. After defeating the attacker, Black pulls out the other cable at the last moment. For a brief moment, you can also see racks of artillery shells. The video cuts again, skipping to the part where Black emerges from the basement and joins the assault on a walkway. The HUD tells us that the objective is to clear the LZ, so the area around the walkway is probably where more Marines are supposed to land. As the Marines charge the walkway, two little birds execute a strafing run. This sequence was also shown in the gameplay debut trailer. We get another taste of the game's destruction as Black shoots at an enemy taking cover behind the walkway's corrugated steel fence. Two pieces of that fence are knocked down when impacted. Moments later, Black is ordered up the walkway and tasked with manning an M240 machine gun, as seen in previous trailers, equipped with a holographic sight. The player opens fire on the advancing enemy, and we can see one of the features that is presumably included in the multiplayer: deployable weapon bipods. The player goes prone, deploys the bipods, and continues firing. This is a first in the Battlefield franchise, and indeed a rare sight in first-person shooter games. Very few games having such a feature, such as Call of Duty World at War, or the upcoming Red Orchestra 2, Heroes of Stalingrad. An awesome sight is when an explosion takes place and the blast blows away a palm tree's leaves. Physics-based or not, it's a nice touch. As the player runs out of ammo and starts to reload the M240, help arrives in the form of an AH-6 Little Bird helicopter, firing its twin M134 7.62mm side-mounted miniguns, flushing the player with a hail of spent shell casings. This is probably the most awesome sight we've seen so far in the trailers. But rest assured, DICE has more up their sleeves. You may have also noticed that there are some inconsistencies in the HUD as well, as the ammo counter reaches 0 way before the player actually runs out of ammo. But it's a forgivable mistake, as this is just pre-alpha footage. The usual text appears, as always, with details about the fall release and the Back to Karkand expansion. What follows, however, is much more interesting. A major earthquake takes place and the player falls off the PKM-equipped technical onto the ground. Some of you probably know what happens next, and we know too. But we won't spoil it for those who don't. What follows and what will probably be shown in the full 12-minute reveal on April 17th will blow you away. Of that you can rest assured, so stay tuned. We'd also like to thank Off-Duty Gamers for their contribution, and if you wish to read the military approach on things, make sure to also check out their analysis on www.offdutygamers.com.